Hello. The Alchemy of Kratom, part 16. This is the revised intro. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, hey, what happened to that video? That was a great video. I loved doing that video. It had over 5,000 views, a lot of likes. Some people didn't like the occult aspect, but it was part of the alchemy experience. And the video and the chemistry was pretty good, and it was one of my favorite works. However, I chose to take it down, and I've got some notes here from the DEA. No, not from the DEA. I made these notes as to the reason why I took it down, and maybe if you want me to put it back up, we could talk about it in the future or send it privately to someone. But basically, new information came to light, and I didn't want people to have the impression that the plant should be celebrated as a harmless plant or as a panacea, something that you can take all the time. I will say I'm not a doctor, but I am experienced with this plant, and I discovered a potentially dangerous long-term side effect from the plant. And I would like to discuss the plant's negative aspects first, and then we will discuss briefly the positive aspects of the plant. So, first of all, the effect of the plant is deceptive, and you'll find a lot of pain medicine is like this. In fact, almost all pain medicine has some form of deception in it because you're masking the cause of the pain that needed to be solved. Perhaps it can't be solved, but there's a very subversive or very low-key deception to this, in that when you take kratom for the first time, it starts off as just this nice, mild effect. There's not an extreme euphoria, but day one of kratom is just really nice, and you think, okay, this is pretty chill, it's pretty harmless, but you would, go on to day 1,000 and then find that your side effects from it are a little more significant than what you were thinking in the original experience. So taking the medicine as a long-term solution is not recommended. And there's two reasons for that. One is because it seems to have a disproportionate amount of adverse side effects as compared to the benefits, especially over time. And, I was aware of the withdrawal symptoms of an opiate, and this does tickle the opioid receptors, so it's going to have withdrawal symptoms. But for the amount of benefit you get from the plant, the amount of pain and withdrawals are significantly more as time goes by. And so if you go by the judgment that a medicine is good when the benefits outweigh the side effects, which was taught to me by my mom, who was a pharmacist for 50 years, a good medicine has the benefits outweigh the side effects. So by that measure, you'd have to discontinue use very early on for kratom. The main reason, though, that I'm doing this video is because my girlfriend had a very significant blood sugar fluctuation that we determined was caused by kratom. After taking it daily for 3 years, which it's like green tea in its appearance, so you wouldn't think much of it. But after about 2 years, she started to have these blood sugar fluctuations, and we checked everything. And finally, we didn't know why she was having those symptoms, but my dad's has diabetes, and so we had a little test strip checker, and we checked her blood sugar, and it was up and down and all over, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. We were changing her diet, when does she move around, everything. And finally, we determined that it was a kratom, and she quit after using kratom for 3 years, went through the withdrawals. Very proud of her for accomplishing that, because that's it's a painful withdrawals. But we found that it was just causing more problems than good after that amount of time. And it's like a credit card. You can get what you want today, but it's going to cost you in the future with interest. Now, some medicine, it's like a low interest rate and you can get away with it. Kratom is like a credit card with like a 30% interest rate. I wouldn't take it for more than a few days personally. Anyone that wants to experiment with it needs to be very aware that you need to get off of it very quickly. I still think it has use as something that can be used to get people off of heroin or off of opiates. But, I'm not a doctor, but from what I've seen, I would give it like 2 weeks max. Like it's a wean off type of drug or a substance that could be used temporarily. Now, if Big Pharma gets hold of it, separates the alkaloids out, and then really studies it, there could be a diabetic medicine in there. Because your blood sugar, and a lot of people think kratom would affect your blood pressure or your heart rate, and it doesn't do. It does a little, but not as much as the blood sugar. That's the key thing here. And like I said, I wouldn't be doing this video if I hadn't tested and seen the evidence. Her blood sugar went up to 140 and then tanked to like 65 or something within like 20 minutes after a dose of kratom. So really crazy blood sugar instabilities after long-term use. Some other long-term side effects, her hair was thinning out, skin wasn't as good, various, just overall health problems were starting to appear. Cavities could be a problem. Not so much, I think, from the kratom, but the blood sugar fluctuations, that really affects your hormones, it affects your overall health. And if you put a powder in your mouth every day, like powdered anything, and then sip it down with some sweet tea, well, what's that going to do to your teeth? Every time you have a little sweet tea, you're getting the residue of the plant matter on your teeth, and it's going to make cavities worse. It's not necessarily going to make your teeth fall out or anything, but it's not great for your overall health if you're doing a toss and wash method. That's one thing I liked about a concentrated extract or, drinking a tea of it. But like I said, there's just way too much evidence that the blood sugar fluctuations are going to be a problem. After she quit taking it, her blood sugar immediately stabilized. Even though she was having withdrawals, her blood sugar was stable, around the 100 to 120 range, which is normal for a person that's not a diabetic. So I don't know what mechanism is causing these blood sugar spikes and drops associated with kratom, but it needs to be studied, and perhaps with better science here and more in-depth study, there could be a pharmaceutical brought out of this medicine. But if you think of the forest as a pharmacy, you wouldn't just walk into a pharmacy and grab 4 or 5 different medicines and take them and not knowing what they were and just assume, well, we can trust these people at the pharmacy, they're all nice people. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. And nature's the same way. You can't go into the woods and pick something off a tree and say, well, it's all natural. Nature is great, so it's got to be good for us, right? It's like, no, there's 4 or 5 different alkaloids in there. We don't know exactly what their interaction is when you take them for a long period of time. It could be that they break down in, as your liver metabolizes them, and those daughter products of mitragynine breaking down are what is causing the blood sugar fluctuations. So again, a lot more work has to be done with the chemistry. And yeah, that's about it. Remember, all natural, poison ivy is all natural. Okay, hemlock is all natural. Foxglove digitalis plant, it's a heart medicine, all natural, or it can give you a heart, it can kill you, it can stop your heart. So there's tons of plants that are all natural that are completely lethal. So you can't just assume that, well, it's a natural supplement and, you know, it's not processed, so I can take it all the time. It's like, no, dude, don't do that to yourself. Treat the medicine with respect, treat it as a curiosity, you know, try it if you want, but I'm warning you, please, you know, discontinue use in a short amount of time because long-term side effects will bite you in the butt. Right in the... Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. If you want me to put the information back up now that you have a better understanding of the plant. And I have like 6 other videos I've been working on, and I've been putting them together piece by piece, and like it's just been one thing after another. I actually need to do some videos on caffeine, because after taking caffeine for, I don't know, 30, 40 years, I've taken caffeine since I was a little kid, right? Or teenager at least, regularly since I was a teenager. And I quit caffeine, wheat thins, Cool Whip. I quit caffeine a week ago, and I gotta tell you, the need for Kratom or any pain medicine totally relieved. Like quitting caffeine, like totally fixed my knee pain. I mean, it's amazing how much better I feel physically. I'm, you know, a little groggy at certain times of the day, a little foggy, but the stress levels have come way down, and that's where you want to be. And I can run better, even though I'm a little overweight. I can still like do stuff now that was hurting me before. So really, less is more. A lot of medicine is just one medicine treating the symptoms of another medicine treating, you know, because you ate a bad diet. And less is more, man. I mean, that's the path. So hopefully there are some people in the DEA watching this, or anywhere in law enforcement. It's like, hey, you know, should we make it illegal? Well, even my girlfriend suggested, well, maybe we should, you know, after this experience. But I said, hey, look at it this way. Would you rather be able to have your withdrawals in the comfort of a home, or as a particular individual in jail? I think every natural plant should remain legal, because making it illegal just adds insult to injury. All it would do is take more money away from people. I mean, the substance is already punishing them and the people around them. Like, I can understand limiting distribution and things like that, but, you know, charges on possession for substances, you're just, you know, like I said, you're adding insult to injury. So I think from a legal perspective, you know, keep it legal. If you want to experiment with it, cool, but be very careful. So that's about all for today. Have a good one.